I once loved the cat with his hat tall and neat, but the movie from '03 knocked me off of my seat. His smile is haunting, his jokes make me sweat. I pressed play once, and I still feel regret. His fur looks too real, his voice gives me chills. He pops out of cupboards and breaks my will. I know it's a comedy, meant to be fun, but I'm scared of that cat, so I turn and I run. In the early 2000s, Universal made a live-action version of the Dr. Seuss classic, The Grinch, starring Jim Carrey and a host of other really great actors. Total hit. I love that movie every year around Christmas time. It's on my rotation. I watch it every single year. I love it. This hat is just shaking. Can you hear that thing? I might have to take this hat off. It keeps shaking. They followed that masterpiece up with The Cat in the Hat. Didn't have quite the same staying power. I never saw this movie. It seemed too off-putting. There was something weirdly horrific and uncanny about the way that Mike Myers looks as the cat in this. This movie was so critically reviled that following all of the negative reception, Dr. Seuss's widow actually banned Universal from making any more live-action adaptations. But it can't be that bad, can it? Can it? We see the small town of Annville. Holy shit. I love this. Look at this. I want to live here. There's a narrator over all this, but I'm not listening to him because I'm looking at all the details of Annville. We enter Humberflubes, which is a real estate office. We see a woman on the phone with her babysitter, and then we see her ugly children. Her boss, Hank Humberflube, he comes out and he introduces a new employee who he immediately fires for shaking his hand, and then he vigorously applies hand sanitizer. This whole plot point about Hank Humberflube being a germaphobe, there is going to be a meet and greet later at Joan's house. And because Humberflube is such a germaphobe, clean, neat freak, her house has to be spotless. The only problem is she's got two little runts at home who are dirty, filthy, disgusting, gross children. Ugh. And this has already happened once, and Hank reminds her, hey, that better not happen again. I better not come over to your disgusting pigsty of a house. If I do, you're fired. We follow Joan as she drives her car home, and now look at their street. Oh my God. Again, I'm just gonna keep talking about how much I love this. This is awesome. In the house, we meet the two children. The boy's name is Conrad, and the girl's name is Sally. Conrad is more of the mischievous one. He gets into trouble a lot. He talks back. He just is always constantly acting out. Sally is the more well-behaved one. She's very much into rules and organization. We see her playing around on her Palm Pilot, going through her to-do list. Conrad makes this kind of impact-resistant suit out of a bunch of food, and then he rides a pan down the stairs. As Mom opens the door, he flies out, and their dog runs off. Mom is not happy about this. She's like, God damn it, Conrad, I have a goddamn important goddamn thing tonight. God damn it, I should have never had goddamn children. Alec Baldwin opens up the door, and he has their dog. His name is Lawrence, or Larry, and Mom is pretty happy to see him. Conrad is not a fan of him at all. Given Alec Baldwin's recent incidents, I'd be scared to death to be seeing him. Lawrence then tries to convince Joan that they need to send Conrad away to military school. He's also making a ton of innuendos about his being hard. I don't know. Joan walks away and Conrad's like, hey Larry, I heard what you were talking to my mom about. Not a chance, pal. He's like, listen, you little if I had the choice, you'd be doing push-ups in military school right now. I'm gonna marry your mom, and then I'm gonna bang her, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Lawrence leaves, and then Clint Howard shows up with catering. Completely irrelevant, never shows up again. Humberflube calls Joan up and tells her to come back into work. So she calls up their babysitter, Mrs. Kwan. Joan tells the kids to be good, especially Conrad, you little bastard. He tells her he wishes he had a different mom, and she's like, well, same, pal. Ouch. Mrs. Kwan falls asleep watching Taiwanese parliament members brawl on TV. It's super random, really funny. I gotta take this off. This has got to be rattling around on the mic. Okay. The kids stare out the window as it pours down rain when they hear something knocking around upstairs. They go to check it out, and then the creepiest human cat man appears behind them. Jesus Christ! Holy shit! They run around the house in terror as this abomination appears everywhere that they go. This is the Cat in the Hat. I'm pretty sure he's from New York. He has this weird New York accent. And this guy is completely insane. He surfs up and down the stairs. He pervs out on their mom. He makes jokes about her pussy. He stuffs the picture in his pants to jerk off to later, I guess. I don't know. He then takes Mrs. Kwan, puts her on a hanger, and puts her in the closet. Then he pulls out a funometer, and it determines that Sally is a control freak and that Conrad is a bedwetter. And he's like, hey, you guys really suck. We need to lighten you up. Let's have some fun, eh? Gotta say, tons of props. Holy shit. There's a new prop popping up for every single gag and joke that he has. It's crazy. He then goes into this whole song and dance routine when their goldfish comes to life, and he's like, hey, this cat is a problem. You need to get him out of here. He continues his song. He's doing all this crazy shit. I couldn't focus on anything he was singing about because of how insane it all is. They're like, okay, yeah, you seem fun. Definitely stay. I wish you would go. He's freaking me out. He then makes them sign a contract that guarantees that they will have fun and that nothing bad will happen. And they happily sign it. He goes in the living room where the kids aren't allowed because they're demons who will destroy everything. He's like, hold on, I'll make these couches extra jumpable. And he turns into a mechanic, and then he shows them his bare human ass. He's like fighting an elephant in there. Everything's moving so fast, I don't know what the is going on. Then he starts jumping on the couch, and he's jumping all over the room, laughing like a lunatic. Conrad joins him. The fish tries to talk Sally out of joining, but then the cat throws him in the toilet. All of a sudden, Lawrence walks in, and Cat is magically gone. Lawrence is dressed like a bum, and then he goes and raids their kitchen for a sandwich and some beers. We see Cat on the ceiling, and he starts scratching his ass, which causes Lawrence to have an allergic reaction and leave. They go into the kitchen to watch Cat make some cupcakes. It's set up like it's this cooking show. And he pulls out this device called a Cupcakeinator, which can make cupcakes out of anything. He tosses a bunch of bullshit into it and then throws it in the oven. This bit was actually really funny. There's two versions of Cat. One has like hair, he's like the host of the show, and then the cook is just Cat, but he has a Scottish accent. And the Scottish one hates the other one. He keeps threatening to kill him the whole time. And then he ends up chopping part of his tail off. Then the oven explodes, this purple diarrhea all over the room. Sally's like, dude, you have got to clean this crap up. Pronto. So he grabs one of Mom's dresses and starts wiping it up with it. The fish is also back and ranting at everybody. He's like, all right, calm down. I know some guys that can get in here. They'll help us clean this up. And he wheels in a big crate, and out pop two more abominations from hell, Thing 1 and Thing 2. Conrad goes to check out this crate, and Cat's like, do not do that. This is a trans-dimensional box. Don't open it. And then he puts this weird kind of like bug padlock on it. He throws the things the dress, and they get goop all over the couch. Then they're flinging this shit all over the place. The kids grab some giant nets to catch them, but these slippery are zooming all over the house. As all this is happening, Conrad stops to pick the lock on the crate, which then attaches itself to the dog's collar. Cat then informs them that the things will only do the opposite of what you tell them, and then they launch the dog out the window. Then Cat's like, well, this mess is the least of your worries. That box is leaking and we need to get that lock back. So they leave to go find the dog, but before they do, they put Mrs. Kwan on top of it to keep it shut. We see Lawrence at his dumpy little house, and he is like super disgusting. He calls Joan to tell her that the dog got out and the kids are just apparently acting insane, but that don't worry, he'll go get the dog. Did I mention he's disgusting? We see the dog in a neighbor's yard. Cat goes in and scares him off. And now the dog is at a kid's birthday party, which Sally finds out that she wasn't invited to, which is very sad. Every kid at the party then runs outside and Cat pretends to be a piñata. The kids beat him like they're in the mafia. Then Beans from Even Stevens walks up and he hits a home run with Cat's balls. All the kids are then like, what the hell? Is that piñata alive? But luckily the kids distract them with candy. Joan calls the house and Mrs. Kwan wakes up and she gets off the box and she's telling her everything's fine. Then the things tie her up like a marionette. Then the box starts leaking all over the house. They finally got the dog in sight when Lawrence shows up and he grabs him and drives away. So they hop into Cat's vehicle, which is like a plain car thing. Pretty soon they're all driving at the same time through town, causing who knows how many motor deaths, and then they finally crash. And we see Lawrence pull up to Humberfloops. They decide that they're gonna trick Lawrence, and Cat turns into a Rasta dude and tries to get him to sign a petition. Lawrence asks him to hold the dog while he signs with a giant pin and he runs off. I actually really liked this part, it was pretty funny. They then go into a booth that takes him them to like an underground rave or something. Paris Hilton's there. This place is f***ing awesome. I would love to party here. They get away and Lawrence goes into Humberfloops. Conrad puts the lock in his pocket. Lawrence is telling Joan about her kids and they're like, well, that's it. We're f***ed. Then he tells the things not to help them and the things pull up in Larry's car. Back at the house, the box is doing some really weird shit. Conrad tells the things to slow Mom and Larry down. So they act like they're cops and they pull them over. Larry's like, what the hell's going on? When he sees the kids go by in his car, so he steals their motorcycle. He catches up to them and they go inside the house and it is completely spotless. Larry starts sneezing when Kat shows up and he falls through this tear in reality. And then they go into this big acid trip and these sets are completely insane. This is awesome. They hop on and ride Mrs. Kwan like a log flume, just taking in all of this chaos. And Joan is still distracted by the things. The kids find the crate and try to put the lock on it. Sally almost gets sucked into a wormhole, but Conrad gets the lock on and the house goes back to normal. But then it all implodes. And Larry comes out the outdoor faucet covered in purple diarrhea. They're like, Kat, what the fuck, man? We gotta fix this. He's like, huh? They're like, you just don't know when to quit, do you? And if you're not gonna help us, then scram! The kids are like, well, we're in this together. We take our punishment together. We've had a good run. Then Kat comes back in this really weird contraption. He says that Conrad opening up the box voided the contract they signed earlier, but somewhere in it said that if they do come back together, the contract's reinstated. The things come in and help to clean everything up until it's all spotless. Before he goes, they're like, Kat, gotta be honest. Today was a ton of fun. As he's walking out, they're like, wait, don't go. And then Mom walks in. She's like, wow. You guys are perfect. This place looks amazing. Huh? And then Lawrence walks in, he's covered in goop, and he makes a total fool out of himself ranting about a giant cat. Joan's like, Larry, I love my kids. They're great. Get the f out of my house. The party's going great. Mom is happy. The kids are happy. They're jumping on the couch as Kat and the things walk down the street to go f up some other kids' lives. The end. Oh man. I don't know. That was a movie. So let's just start with the obvious. This movie received a ton of negative reviews when it came out. I can't wear this. It received a ton of negative reviews when it came out. I think it's sitting on a hard 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. And like, I get it, but also I think there's a lot to admire and love about this movie. So let's just kind of go into it here. The acting in this movie is really good. For the most part, everybody is doing a really, really good job. Sean Hayes, he's barely in it, but he is really funny. He's giving it his all. Alec Baldwin is ridiculous and gross. Dakota, out of the two kids, she is easily the standout. The fish is the weirdest character. He just kind of pops in and out just to kind of yell at them and be like, you guys shouldn't do it, but he really doesn't mean anything. I don't know why the fish is in this. Mike Myers, while he is a fun choice, his bits go on a bit too long most of the time, and they really tend to fall flat. I am just going to assume that he had a lot more creative freedom than he should have. They really should have reined him in. The humor in general in the movie is just way too adult for this to be a kid's movie. There are so many sexual innuendos and just like references. It gets kind of gross, honestly. I gushed about this earlier. I must give flowers to like the art direction and the set design and all of it's awesome. You're literally seeing Dr. Seuss's world come to life in this movie. I think even more than The Grinch did. This is great. Just like Dr. Seuss Suburbia. It's so colorful. It's just wild and weird. I think they did such a great job. Dr. Seuss's wife banning all live action movies after this one. Makes sense. Personally, I think it's a shame because like, can you imagine what like a live action version of The Lorax would have looked like? Or Green Eggs and Ham? How nightmare inducing could those movies have been? There is a ton plot-wise that just makes no sense. This movie moves like this. It's like so fast. Half of the stuff that's happening, I don't really understand why other than just to be crazy, I guess. So many plot points never come back around. Like, why was Sally not invited to the friend's birthday party? We never find out. Overall, though, I didn't think it was that bad. Like, it's not good, but it's not that bad. I think there's a lot in here to really enjoy, as long as you're not, like, digging too deep into it. Obviously, it is way more style over substance. I think with just a little more care, this could have been a real classic and had a lot more like longer lasting impact. Fixing that cat makeup to not make it so scary would have also helped probably. But what do you think? Have you seen The Cat in the Hat? Do you love it? Do you not like it? Go ahead and sound off in the comments below. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel for more, and as always, thanks for watching. Bye. Mwah.